Hey YouTube. So my new friends at Santa Monica Filtration got in contact with me and sent me one of their algae scrubbers. I've never worked with an algae scrubber before, so I figured this would be an awesome opportunity to try one out and let y'all know what I think. So I hadn't opened up this box yet. I just took the label off and cut the tape so we could get a quick look inside. So for anyone else who's not familiar, like me, I did a little bit of looking into it before I opened this up. Basically, what the algae scrubber does, it provides a very favorable place for algae to grow inside the system, which in turn allows the algae to eat up all the excess nutrients and waste in your water, helping keep it clear. Now, with an appropriate sized system inside your tank, from what I've been told, you can actually eliminate water changes in your aquarium. Now for my tank, I have the Hog 2 system, which is stands for hang on glass. It's probably not big enough for the 200 gallon, which I'm going to install it on right now to completely eliminate water changes, but I got a feeling this thing's going to make a big difference in my water quality. So I'm going to go through the box and kind of take a peek here. We've got some directions. We'll go through a little bit later. Here's the actual unit, but I'm going to go through and more in depth kind of cover it and provide some information about it. But basically what I plan on going through probably in the next couple videos I put up, but in this one today I'm going to install the system and I'm going to do an initial water test to show what my water quality is before putting the system in, and we can kind of track what improvements I have as the unit starts to grow algae in it. One of the other cool benefits of this is as it grows algae later on, I can actually take it out and feed it to my fish as a treat. So that'll be pretty cool. But like I said, for this size tank, I probably won't be able to completely eliminate the water changes, but I definitely think it's going to make a big difference. So let's get a look at this thing. Okay, we've got power cord over here. It's actually pretty light. Let me move this box out of the way. So here we have the unit. It basically just runs on air and light. It has the lights built in. The only thing I gotta connect is it has the tubing on it. I just gotta connect it to my air pump and run air through it. So normally this would go down into a sump. I'm not currently running a sump on my 200 gallon, which is what I'm going to install this on. Eventually I may move it into my 30 gallon, but for these videos I want to try it on 200 gallon. So let's open this up. Okay, so this is a note about the magnets. Okay, so what holds this together is magnets, and this note is simply saying if it's stuck together, don't pry it to twist it apart. And that came apart very easily. Now this material here, I don't know how well it's showing up on the camera, but it is very coarse and rough looking. It almost looks like crushed glass or ground up glass. It's not cutting my finger or anything like that, but you definitely wouldn't want to rub your fingers on this. And this tray here simply goes inside the tank. So I'll tilt you up here. This will simply go inside the tank up against the glass, and then this cover goes outside the tank to match up with it. So they meet together, and that's it. Then I plug in this side with the lights, run an air line to this side on the inside, and that should be it. Okay, so right here I have the part of the hog tube that goes inside the tank. This is the bottom, and up here's the top. Air line runs through the top, or through the top side. This is going to fit on the inside of the glass. I'm going to put it on this side of the tank, starting out. Eventually, I'm probably going to move it to the back side of my tank and kind of tuck it away like I do most of my equipment, just because I don't like my equipment to show. But for the purposes of starting out and easy access, I'm going to put it on the outside over here next to my filter, intake, and output. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down on the inside, and then I'm going to attach the outside section, which will clamp on out here, and it'll just meet up to this on the outside of the glass and shine the lights on it. So starting out, so the lights don't overcome the algae and burn it off, it came with a black mat that I'm also going to put on over the LEDs. I'm just going to kind of set that there for now. Grab the top side. So right here I have the top side. Now on the inside you can see there's 4 high-powered LEDs, and here's the outside. Here with it is the black cloth. Now simply this is just going to stretch over and clamp between this and the glass, and I'm just going to cover up half of these lights, and that's to help the algae get started on the growth surface, so it can take off without getting burned off by the lights. And if my helper Bo here would stop knocking the camera around, that would be great. So I'm going to install these now. Simply just hold this about where I want it. I'm going to get more water flow, more nutrients going through it. You want it down towards the bottom of the tank, but you don't want the holes getting blocked up by sand or gravel or anything. To reduce noise and lower the water flow, you can bring the top out of the surface of the water. That'll eliminate bubbles coming out of it also. And that's it to install it. Now I'm going to move the camera and bring it closer because I already forgot to put my black cloth on, but it'll also give you a better view. So I'm going to remove the top, and it'll kind of give you an idea how it removes, and I'm going to reinstall it with the black cloth on. Simply pull that off, and lay this black cloth over it. Try not to touch in there with my wet hand. Only want to cover 2 of these LEDs, and that's just for the first 7 to 10 days. Okay, so half the LEDs. I'll hold this inside portion back into position, and then just hold that over. There we go. The unit really doesn't take up all that much room. I might not even move it. And as I said before, if you have a sump, this simply installs in the sump. Okay, so right now I got a little bit of a jumbled mess right here, but nothing too crazy. I'm moving my filter, inlet and outlet, and my CO2 diffuser forward slightly, and I'm going to set the box up in the back corner. It really does have a low profile and doesn't take up too much room in the tank, so I don't think it's going to be that much of a distraction from the display in the tank. So right now I'm going to go ahead and hook up the air. I'm going to use a check valve just to make sure it doesn't leak in a power outage. So it's starting up now. It's really not that much noise. I kind of expected it to be a lot louder. And honestly, I can't hear it over the sump on my 30 gallon. And it kind of makes, not really large bubbles, but larger than a bubbler would make, but nothing too disruptive. So I'm gonna watch it for a little bit and see what I think. If I don't like the pattern, or if it seems like it's gonna be a problem, I can actually just move the whole unit up, and by bringing it up to the water surface, no more bubbles. But since you get more water flow with it set deeper, which promotes algae growth and better filtration, I'm definitely going to start it out down here and see how it does. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this set in place. Okay, so now I have everything set up back here in the corner of the tank. I have my CO2, my filter input and output, and the unit up and running, the algae scrubber. It really doesn't take up all that much room, and the bubbles, I'm already not noticing them. They're blending right in. The fish don't seem to mind it, and it's doing its job. So here we have a closer look from the top. You can see a little bit of the red LED light coming out around the edges. On camera it may be more noticeable, but in person it truly isn't that much, and nothing more than you would notice on a indicator light for any other piece of equipment. So I'm going to get a look over here at the profile. So here's the view from the front. You actually can't even see the unit except for the red light. You wouldn't notice it's in the tank. I'm pretty surprised by that. I actually thought it was going to stick out like a sore thumb, but again, I have it installed inside my display tank. Most people, the typical installation would be inside a sump, but in my case I don't have a sump, so I did put it in my display tank, but it's not an issue for me. And that's something that normally drives me nuts, is trying to hide my equipment. Unlike most people, I guess it's just not an issue for. I really like to hide my stuff, and even just the simplest airline drives me crazy. But to be honest, this is blending right in. But honestly, if it's only that little bit of light I notice from this angle, I'll just set it so the photo period for the unit is set mostly for at night when I'm not in here, or I'll just, you know, move it around slightly. But again, that's just not, it's really not even an issue. The light appears much brighter on the camera than it is in person. But so far as for the bubbles coming out, again, in some other videos I saw, it seemed really loud, so I was anticipating the bubbles being loud or possibly being a distraction. Honestly, I can't hear them over my sump on my 30 gallon, which again is not very loud. It's just it's very low setting, trickling sound, and I can't hear it over my air pumps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my API freshwater master test kit here. So I'm not going to use strips because strips can be notoriously bad. I'm going to go ahead and use a nice liquid test kit. Now, some of you may tell me I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a good quality test kit, at least for, you know, home purposes. I'm going to test my water, get some initial readings. This is after, I'd say, about 4 or 5 days after cleaning the tank. So it should be about a typical reading for my tank. And we'll get an initial reading. That way we'll have some actual numbers to compare. And I'm going to do it more than once. You know, throughout my updates and throughout my channel, on occasion, I'm going to give an update. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, and because this takes a little bit of time, I'm going to go ahead and start grabbing the samples and get them going, and then I'll come back and show that. Alright y'all, so it's been 5 minutes. The tests have fully developed. So let's take a look at the results. That way we have something to compare to over the next several weeks, and we can see what kind of improvement this algae scrubber has made. So the first test we have here is the nitrate, and it looks like my tank's actually running pretty high, which is to be expected with the amount of stock I have and the kind of limited filtration I'm currently running. So I'm going to go ahead and compare this over here. I'm running at 40 parts per million, which is pretty high. We have the nitrite. It's a dead match for 0. And finally, we have the ammonia. And for the ammonia, so the camera can see, and I'd say it's a match for 0. So those are the results for starting out before running the Santa Monica Filtration Hog 2 algae scrubber in this tank. Over the next several weeks, like I said, I'm going to post updates and show the growth of algae and any changes in the water chemistry from the scrubber. So some final thoughts about Santa Monica Filtration's Hog 2. It's super simple to set up, it's surprisingly quiet, it's low profile, easy to hide in a display tank. If you have a sump, even easier to install and hide, obviously. The fish don't seem bothered by it, and potentially it can eliminate water changes. I think this is going to be probably my most prized possession when it comes to equipment coming up. I'm really excited to see the results from it. Santa Monica Filtration has tons of information on their site and about algae scrubbers in general. They have a bunch of different units. The awesome part about it is the systems can work on saltwater or freshwater, either or, and there seems to be nothing but benefits to it. So I'm going to continue to try it out, use it, update you all about it, and I will create a playlist so you can keep coming back and find out more about it along with me. If you want more information about the Hog 2 or other products from Santa Monica Filtration, check out some of the links I have in the description and view their page. They have tons of information. I've just barely scratched the surface of what they have. They're very knowledgeable and their customer support is above and beyond. So thanks for watching, y'all. Hopefully we can make a big difference in this tank and I won't have to do as much work changing this out. I know my family would appreciate that, so we can enjoy watching the fish and they get more time with me to watch the fish. But anyway, thanks for watching, y'all, and I want to say another thank you to Santa Monica Filtration for helping me out, get me set up into the algae scrubber world, and hopefully this makes a big difference. Thanks.